and next thing you know, you just bought an $80,000 truck that wasn't in the budget, wasn't in the plan, it's not in the strategic goals, you just wanted it. And so you bought it. You impulse bought it. And you think, oh, people don't impulse buy vehicles. Yes, they do all the time, especially business owners. It's kind of like budget is such an evil word that a lot of people just hate. And so they avoid budgeting at all costs. They don't want to feel restricted. Even think about people in their personal lives. A lot of people will not use a budget in their personal lives because they don't want to be restricted. They want to be free to spend their money the way they want to spend it. And they don't like a budget telling them what they have to do or what they can do or what they can't do. And that carries over into the business world where it's kind of the same. A CEO wants to be able to spend when and where he feels like he needs to without being constrained by a budget that feels really limiting. And I would say if that's how you think about and feel towards budgeting, you're thinking about it the wrong way, because a budget should not be designed to restrict and inhibit. A budget should be designed to inform and to focus. So it's not about saying you can't spend money. It's about being really intentional and having a plan for where you're going to spend money to make sure that you're spending money in areas that are actually going to drive progress towards the goals that you're trying to achieve.
Right. Yeah, that makes total sense. What have you seen instances where companies they've kind of ignored their budget? How has that played out? What problems does that create for them?
It creates two fundamental problems. One is you end up spending in areas that are not aligned with the strategic plan. You end up with this knee-jerk reaction kind of spending where you drive past the car lot one day and you see a new pickup and decide that your business vehicle is all of a sudden no longer satisfying you in the way that you would like it to. And next thing you know, you just bought an $80,000 truck that wasn't in the budget, wasn't in the plan, it's not in the strategic goals, you just wanted it. And so you bought it. You impulse bought it. And you think, oh, people don't impulse buy vehicles. Yes, they do all the time, especially business owners, which, hey, I'm not saying you can't have a new pickup if that's something you want and need and it's important to you. And we can absolutely do that. But if it's really that important to you, let's put it in the plan. Let's put it in the budget. Let's make it a goal. Let's make that something we do intentionally and not just spur of the moment, knee-jerk reaction, do it now and deal with the fallout and the consequences later.
Yeah. What kind of decisions if you're consistently budgeting and making an effort to keep that up to date and accurate, what kind of decisions does that then allow you to make in your business?
A couple. One of the most important things is it shows me where I'm overspending, where I've just let spending get out of control, where I have money leaking out that I never intended to have money leaking out there. In my own business, I do a budget versus actual review every single month. And it allows me to identify, why did we spend that much in that category last month? I wasn't planning on spending that much. What happened? I look into it. I understand it. I fix it. So if you have things like ongoing subscriptions that you don't need anymore, that you aren't using, it gives you the opportunity to identify those and eliminate them so you're not wasting money. I'm not talking about a $10 a month Netflix subscription. I mean, this is the business world. Some of our business softwares that we use are expensive, thousands of dollars a month. And you think, oh, people aren't going to miss a couple $1,000s a month in software subscriptions. That's crazy. Nobody would do that. Yeah, they would. They do it all the time. When you're a $30, $40, $50 million construction business, $2,000 showing up randomly in the P&L every month, you're not even going to see it.
Yeah. So you talked a little bit about what you do for yourself. What does a responsible, stable budgeting process look like for a healthy company? Like, what are we doing every week, every month?
To me, it means we're reviewing the P&L every month. And the way that we approach it in my firm, both in how I run my firm and how we help our clients from a budgeting perspective, is it's tied in with our forecasting. So we do a 12-month cash flow forecast in our business and in our clients' businesses, where it is a monthly forecast over the next 12 months where we're forecasting revenue, we're forecasting expenses, we're forecasting cash flow. And so I can tell you any given month, 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 months from now, I can tell you already today exactly how much I'm planning to spend in that month. And so when we are looking at a month's performance, we're going to compare what we actually spent money on that month to what we had said previously in our budget, our plan we were going to spend, and we're looking for variances. We're looking for things that were different than planned, either overspending or sometimes underspending. Like we may have a strategic initiative where we say we're going to start spending $5,000 a month on marketing, and I do my budget versus actual review, and we only spend $1,000. That's going to prompt me to have a conversation of, we have another $4,000 budgeted towards marketing for business growth that we've said is important. Why didn't we spend it? What were we supposed to use those dollars for that we didn't? We're probably missing out on growth opportunities because we didn't spend that money. But I'm also looking for places where we overspent. Where do we spend more than we planned? Why? Are we okay with that? Was that a good decision to spend that money? If so, we need to adjust the plan going forward to allow for that. If not, we need to understand what went wrong, fix it, cut off the spending, and get back on track.
Yeah, that makes total sense. I think most people would like to have the issue of uncovering where they're underspending for things.
Yeah, and that goes back to me saying a budget isn't about restricting spending. It's about informing it and focusing it. Because I talk to business owners a lot. They say, hey, I want to grow. Okay, well, how much are you spending on marketing to grow your top line revenue? Well, I can't afford marketing. Yeah, you can't afford marketing because you don't have a budget. You aren't telling your money strategically where it needs to go every month for you to achieve the goals that you have for your organization, because you don't want to be restricted. Okay, well, your unwillingness to be restricted is causing you to not have money budgeted for marketing, whereas you're probably wasting a bunch of money on a bunch of silly things that aren't actually moving your business forward. So if you had a budget telling you, hey, cut spending in these categories because they're not strategically aligned with where we want to go, refocus that on marketing. Now we drive the top line growth that's actually going to lead to the overall business profitability growth that we're looking for. That's what budgeting does.
We've established that budgeting is important, but how do owners get there? What numbers, what data do they have to be able to gather to create and track and manage an effective budget? Because when you talk about budgeting, it's just like, yeah, that'd be great, but like I don't have access to all that information.
Yeah, no, it's easy to talk about it at a 30,000 foot level, and someone can sit there and nod their head and say, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Get to the part where you tell me how to actually do it. And it's actually a lot more simple than you think. You have an accounting system. That accounting system has the ability to run reports. The way that we do budgeting is we run a profit and loss report, 12-month trended. What that means is it's your P&L like you would normally run, where you've got your revenue, your cost of goods sold, your operating expenses, your net income down at the bottom. The difference is when you run it 12-month trended, there's 12 columns across this P&L now, one for every 12 months, or one for every month for 12 months. And we're running it for the most recent 12 months every single month. So good example, it's January 15th. I'm doing my process for January, which means I'm going to be looking at January through December of 2024, because that is the most recent 12 months that we have done as a business. I'm going to go into my accounting system. I'm going to run a profit and loss report by month for the last 12 months, and I'm going to put that in Excel or Google Sheets. Then what I'm going to do is look at how much I spent by category on that P&L over the last 12 months. And I'm going to get really strategic about using that as my plan for what I'm going to do the next 12 months. I'm going to go down to my P&L and find the marketing GL account and say, okay, last 12 months, how much did I spend in marketing? Well, it's probably going to look something like $200 one month, $5,000 the next, and it's just going to be all over the place, right? And so you're going to put a plan in place for the next 12 months. Are we going to spend a consistent dollar amount every single month? Are we doing pockets of expense because we know we have this conference over here that costs us $5,000 to do some marketing in that conference that we do every year? Okay, if that's the case, and it's in March, I'm going to make sure I have $5,000 budgeted for marketing in March. You tailor it to what you are going to do in your business, and the historical data is just there to help you inform and make decisions about what the next 12 months is most likely to look like.
Yeah, totally. What's the one thing, like as we wrap up here, what's the one thing that you would want every contractor that comes through your door to know about budget, or to bring to you about budgeting?
What I would want them to know is that you should view budgeting as a tool for growth. It is not about holding you back. It is not about restricting you. It is about setting your money free to do the right things that are actually going to grow your business. So if you can change your mindset, your mentality, and your approach towards budgeting, that is the first step you have to make to be able to deploy a budget effectively in your business. If you come into it with this mindset of budgets suck, I hate budgets, budgets are dumb, I don't need a leash, it's never going to work for you.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time today. Thanks so much, Luke.
You bet. I enjoyed it.